Hey, hello everybody, it's Greg. So it looks like we got a turn day, and it would certainly make sense as the internals have gotten closer to a sell. And so it's intraday, and I never rely on them as a signal for sure intraday because things can change quite a bit by the end of the day, as we've seen many times where a bar looks like a red bar or a green bar at 2 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock it's completely different. And that certainly could happen today. Um, but on the 65-minute chart, this is the first time since the low began. If you follow the pivots, it'll make this a little easier for you to see, but if you follow the pivots here as it's going up, and there were no pivots over here, which means the trend was so strong. That's a good rule. When you don't see any pivots on the time frame you're looking at, the trend is strong because it doesn't create three higher lows to the left and right. Now, here, well, this bar is not done. We've gotten a break, not only one pivot, but two pivots on the 65-minute chart. And as you can see on the hourly chart, it's below a prior day's low. We'll see if it closes below that. And if it does, that's the first red bar closing below a prior day's low that we've seen since this advance began. So a clear, obvious change from the past 2.5, 3 weeks. Now, it did take out that prior high, that pivot high, which was major resistance. That's a plus. And I said this probably earlier in the week because I know I said it in either the advisory letter or in the pre-market that now the expectation would be for a trading range. And even if it takes out the high up here, if it can do that on the whatever Powell's going to say tomorrow, it's still extended. The internals are be at a bearish extreme, and it's likely we're going to get some kind of corrective price action. The takeaway from that is because of the depth of this retracement, the odds of making a lower low or even testing this low would be remote by historical measures of price action. Now, going into September, who knows after this crazy market? But of course, we'll just see how this unfolds. Step by step, you've got that unfilled gap down there and these two moving averages that'll come into play. Looking at other markets, this has been going nowhere. The transports, I was hoping this could continue to move up. It's not happening. IWM, while it hasn't failed by trading under a prior day's low after 3-day consolidation, it really should have kept going. So it's still trending up on the 65-minute chart. So it's okay, but with things acting the way they are today, it's understandable that nobody really wants to get too involved ahead of the news. And this came out of the blocks in the morning like gangbusters, and then began to fall apart and continue to deteriorate throughout the trading day, and failing at testing prior pivot low down here, now breaking again. The Qs, Nasdaq, of course, breaking below. So far, closing below two prior days lows. So potent turn. You see the 65-minute rolling over, closing under that prior pivot. So it's no longer in an uptrend. It's not in a downtrend yet. So we call it a sideways trend and possibly on its way down to that next pivot area. You see the cursor on the hourly chart. It's lined up with that little consolidation in the 50 MA, which it's right on top of at the moment. Semiconductors, MU. This was one that I thought would go today. I was in it. It got stopped out. Of course, it happens. It's unfortunate because, it had this strong move. It did get up to the pivot. It went sideways for 4 days, and then it came out of the blocks, and it slowly eroded. Well, it came down into the gap fill here where it should have bounced. It attempted to hold, bounce here, and it continues to deteriorate. So certainly the beginnings of changes that haven't happened over the last several weeks. Akamai still looks okay. Had the correction day yesterday. Oil got clobbered and it's on major support, so buyers are stepping up there. We'll see if they can lift it off. The 65 is still in a downtrend, and we'll see if it wants to roll back over here. The day is not over. So if it does, this still could become a topping tail day, but it's on this major support and making sense that it's stabilizing at that point. Gold pulling back a bit, still looks fine. This is an ETF, and gold does trade in futures, so that's why you get these gaps, but this still looks fine. New all-time highs, pulling back. There's going to be buyers on the pullback. DBA looks great. Right, so another one in the ETF letter, gap down today, and it's up near the high of the day. We'll see if it holds on to it, but you can see the nice bottoming process, the move down and the deep retracement back above the 50 and 200. So that looks good. XLU, just grinding its way higher. A little bit of a red day today, of course. We'll see what happens, but still looks pretty darn good. Um, a few others that are kind of open here. This one kind of, type it in here. Looks so great at the end of the day there. And I'm kind of giving it back. We'll see if it comes back up there or not. VI. That looks like it should go lower. DNUT, donut, just kind of consolidating. It's at resistance, just nothing to do. Nothing to do there. DRVN, just looking at a few others. Looks good. Nothing to do there. And I may be setting up a 1, 2, 3, like it could go higher. KEX. Little bottoming tail bar. It's only not even 2 o'clock yet. This could certainly roll back over again. You can't put much weight into the bar until it's completed. And that one's just chopping sideways there. Kind of getting impatient with it, but we'll see what happens. And this one here just continues to bottom out. So, overall things are relatively in bear mode today. Diamonds rolling over. The 5-minute charts are trending down. No bounce. Maybe by 3 o'clock things could turn around. We'll see. The advancers minus decliners are pretty negative around minus 800, and generally when they're down at that level, things don't get to make big recoveries, whereas if for the most part it was up at say a plus 800 or 1,000 during the day, even though prices could be trending down, something similar to this, off of a retest like that, you tend to get back up toward the high of the day. So that doesn't look like that's in the cards today, the way things are trending down. But as always, we'll see how it unfolds. And if you have questions, email us, Greg and Dan at Master Trader. And make sure you check out the MT Live recording if you haven't done that. Lots of good stuff in there as always.